It's gonna be like
But
that
it's all about acquisitions, including the next segment in our show and more acquisitions. This one's coming from IGN though. I think this is a big move, and it's on Forbes, so you know it's for real.
Yeah. Just make sure. Okay, good. So if the top of Forbes is telling me subscribe for $50 a year. So I got nervous. I wasn't gonna be able to see the full article, but never mind. We're good. So this is coming from Forbes. Paul Tassi, the GOAT. I saw he makes YouTube videos the other day. Did not know that, but he makes kind of informative, stuff kind of on what he covers. So cool. Anyway, Paul Tassi writes, IGN buys 4 major gaming sites as games journalism keeps spiraling. We're buying 4 gaming sites, Iron Mike. We're monopolizing the games news industry, baby.
I feel like everything's getting more and more monopolized. Just everything is owned by like 1 or 2 companies, and those guys are in like price fixing and stuff. Yeah. Was it late stage capitalism, dude?
Yeah. Oh man. I just, every time I think about acquisitions, I just think about the Disney infograph where it's like giant Disney head and they own everything. Dude. It's crazy.
They own a lot of things. It is wild.
You want to get scared about something? I'll tell everyone listening. You want to get scared about something? Go look up the Disney infograph for what do they actually own. You'll be surprised at the amount of stuff that is under the Disney umbrella. Yeah. You're probably a little scared, but there you go. Anyways, IGN could be joining that. It could be starting their own, IGN Entertainment, owned by Zeph. I would say Zeph Davis. Zeph Davis. I'm sorry.
I think Zeph.
Zeph seems right. Zeph Davis.
I'm going to find out for you.
Anyways, he has now bought the entire gamer network of brands, which includes at least 4 of the highest profile gaming sites left alive in space and stakes in others. The purchase includes, are you ready for this? It includes Eurogamer, GamesIndustry.biz, okay, big one, Rock Paper Shotgun, the big one, and VG 24/7. Then
we're really gonna only go to. Oh man!
Did they keep their branding?
I'm just reading a little bit ahead. We're only going to IGN, dude.
Yeah, like are we? Did they keep their branding, or is it all just IGN now? Anyway, we'll find out. So they also purchased shares in Outside Xbox, Digital Foundry, Nintendo Life, Push Square, Pure Xbox, and Time Extension. Yeah, that's it. Digital Foundry is pretty crazy. Nintendo Life, Push Square, yeah, it's all kind of under a similar umbrella, if I'm not mistaken. So it kind of makes sense. The move has already resulted in significant redundancy layoffs of acclaimed journalists across the brands as they were absorbed by a site. That was what I was thinking too. It's like when I not even reading the article, reading the headline, I was like, yeah, there's definitely going to be some layoffs. Like I don't know who, but
guaranteed.
Like,
yeah,
there's no way that there's not going to be people laid off because of this. While consolidation is generally not great in any industry, games journalism is especially struggling, and moves like this are only going to make things worse. Mid-level and smaller sites are already fighting against YouTube and Twitch, and for visibility against Google's increasingly actively hostile search policies, which now include AI ripoffs of their articles as of last week. And I noticed that too. When I searched Google, I started searching Google stuff in my work. I noticed like there's like an AI suggestion now. Like if you search and click enter, dude. Like at the top it actually it has an AI tool like run like a kind of synopsis of the top result or something like that. It's really interesting.
I noticed that too.
But now you have a site like IGN owning 5 major brands that can populate the entire link list of a given topic, in theory. While this is just the latest move, we have other similar ones in the past. Fandom bought GameStop, Giant Bomb, and even Metacritic, the all-important aggregator back in 2022. The Gamer Network has over a dozen publications, including Destructoid, The Escapist, GamePure, and Twinfinite. There are some big-name sites that are relatively standalone, or at least the only gaming sites in their network. Polygon seems like the healthiest, perhaps, while something like Kotaku seems constantly on death's door, with the skeleton staff trying to fight against its poor private equity management. Elsewhere, there are major brands like the New York Times and Forbes. Hey, that's me. That's Paul Tassi. That's him. In the gaming space, covering the massive industry that make it harder for smaller sites to compete. But even there are problems. The Washington Post recently culled almost its entire gaming vertical, cut down to more or less one guy. Hi, Gene. Don't know. Hi, Gene. There's also the public war against game journalists by, in part, the anti-woke crowd who believe the progressive leaning outlets are going extinct because of allegedly activist takes. And there are also console fanboys who are constantly ripping outlets for allegedly favoring one piece of hardware or another, or lambasting them for inconsistent opinions across dozens of writers who have diverse viewpoints. In short, when you bring up the layoffs and general destruction of the industry, the reaction from gamers is often a disheartening good, they deserve it. It's almost all bad news. Many former bigger names in the space have either fled to PR, game development itself, or have fashioned their own independent entities like Kinda Funny Games or the recently formed Aftermath. Others have realized that you yourself sort of need to be a brand with a big social media presence, paid walled newsletter, or your own YouTube Twitch space to draw a constant audience or a consistent audience. That's what we were talking about whenever Aftermath formed and all these publications formed. You got these scripts and stuff. It's like, oh, you should build up that social media presence, especially on YouTube. Like, make them videos, like write the articles, make some videos. You could write articles, hire editors to make captivating videos while you cover what you wrote. Hey.
Yeah. I mean, that's like all the stuff I watch on YouTube right now.
Yeah.
It's usually one guy that just reads a script, then it's always in front of like a really well like paired up video. Every single one of them. They're all informative. Yep. That's the future. It's a shame that these sites just don't adapt.
It's pretty crazy. Paul finishes with this. It's hard to see this getting better. I feel for my colleagues who are enduring this sort of thing essentially every month at this point, and I feel like the recent Google AI push, especially in the Mad Max dust storm of the horizon, poised to blow everyone away for good. God help us all. Good luck and Godspeed, Paul Tassi. We love your work.
Yeah.
And you know, our condolences go out to everyone at Eurogamer and these outlets that are unfortunately getting slashed because of
getting cooked.
Because of a late stage capitalism. Like, you know, you just hate to see it.
Well, I think it's just technological advancement. The AI stuff is really big. Yeah. In terms, like, we've been reading these articles, and I don't think we're really loyal to, I don't know, it could be my own bias or ego in the way, but I don't think we're really loyal to one name publication to another. I think some of them definitely have reputations that we might want to like be mindful of. Like, how do they get the recommendation? Like the what's it called? I literally just said the word. Not recommendations.
The reputation?
Reputation, jeez. I'm blanking over here, dude. It's been a tough week. But yeah, so like what he said here about inconsistent opinions across dozens of writers who have diverse viewpoints, that's a prime example of just being a really big publication studio. A lot of people don't look at the authors. They don't really know that author personally. They don't understand what their opinions are. So when you read one article, IGN's really bad about this too. You'll read one like review of a game and they'll be like, this is an amazing game. And then you'll read the next like review from the same website and they'll just be destroying that game, like literally. No. The same game, two different reviews, same website. And it really messes up the opinions of the publication. So I could definitely see how this is becoming a huge issue. I don't know. The original article is about IGN purchasing more gaming sites and journalism becoming a little bit more, I don't know, turbulent.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think you and I have been seeing that for the last like 2 years. It's just total chaos here in video games.
Yeah, sure is. I think, look, development of AI and everything, it's certainly, I think we're certainly going to see effects across many different industries. But for something like writing, I think it's especially detrimental. We're starting to see early effects of like how detrimental it can be to like, especially careers and stuff like that. Because it's like, with AI, I mean, you get this generated text and like, you know, generated like titles or synopses of articles are like actually pretty accurate for the most part if you use specific tools. So it's like, it's kind of scary. I mean, you're not going to read the whole article or go to it if it's like AI can just explain it in a paragraph, give you the bullet points. I mean, that's going to become more and more prevalent, I think, which is unfortunate. But I think we're seeing kind of where we're starting to see what that could look like for certain industries in like just in news in general right now, especially around gaming and stuff. It's like just it's unfortunate.
Yeah,
you know? It's unfortunate.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think this is really going to just come down to articles and, well, not articles, writers, editors becoming their own individual brand and breaking away from these larger conglomerates of newspaper publications, or the publications end up turning into a talent organization. What's it called? A
Like talent agency. Something like
talent agency, and the talent becomes the writers. And
that.
then you put all
Yeah.
the writers up in front of a video because AI can't. I mean, AI can, but I feel like humans instinctually know when something's real and fake.
Yeah.
Like,
However,
if I
Mike,
hear that same AI voice on another TikTok or YouTube video, like, you know what I'm talking about? It's always the same one saying the same crap, and it's like, dude, this is not good. I need to hear like an actual person. I'm more likely to stick around if it's an actual unique voice that I've never heard before
it's
than I
true.
am for the same AI bot. But what were you about to say? I
No,
kind of cut you off.
I was just gonna say, Mike, like you say that, like, oh, it's easy to differentiate AI from from real.
For now.
But
For
what?
now.
But it is gonna get there where it's gonna be like, I'm terrified. This is the exact same. This I can't tell if this is real or
Yeah.
not, and that's where it's gonna get like, and like, oh man, I don't want to spiral too much just thinking about it. But it's like, how are people gonna react to that? And it's like, you like, will more people not trust like the internet as much or social media as much? Maybe in turn, is that a good thing because it'll drive society away from like that to try and find something real? I like that's very optimistic, but I don't know. It's like it makes you wonder kind of
Dude.
what that future is going to be like. Whenever there's more and more fake stuff on the internet, it's like you can't trust it. It's like, all right, we're just what's going on with the internet? Like, what kind of effects is it going to have long term on the internet? Makes you wonder.
It's gonna get really real. It's like weird, but also real. So when you disconnect from technology and you go outside, it's gonna be like the Matrix. When you've never seen the Matrix, have you? I don't
No,
think you
it's
have.
on my list. It's on my list, Mike.
Dude, there's this one scene where Neo's the main character. He gets pulled out of the Matrix, and when he finally gets shown what the real world is and like everything about it, Morpheus, who's kind of like the, I don't know, his mentor and guide throughout his new like life experience. The thing he says to him is so ridiculous, but it's so true. He's like, "Welcome to the land of the real," and it just like shows how desolate the world is and why the Matrix is like a fairy tale land. And he like pulls off the mask on Neo.
Oh
It's like
man,
very unique, and I think if we go down this route of AI taking over everything and we can't differentiate between what's real and what's not when we're using like technological devices, electronics at all, or like watching TV, and it's gonna be everywhere, right? When we finally go outside and like go camping or go out to like see music or something like in the real world, that's gonna be our new experience where it's gonna be so raw, I
that's what I'm
think.
saying.
It
I
could like
just,
make
oh,
reality way more intense.
it's like,
If for people that are like obsessed with technology and fully like encompassed,
yeah,
like I don't know. I'm kind of just spitballing here.
yeah, I don't
Hey,
know.
puppy.
I like to be optimistic and think that I'll kind of swing that because I over the especially like over the past like 6 months to a year, it's kind of just like I've been trying to kind of wean off social media more in general. So it's kind of just like
Yeah.
just try to experience more in person. So I don't know. I'd like the optimist in me is kind of like maybe this will drive people to kind of experience the real, like you're saying, a little bit more. But I don't
Yeah.
know. But it stinks for
You
stuff
know,
like this because we have no it's gonna get to a point where we have no idea what's real and fake probably when it comes to articles and stuff like that. So I don't know.
I want to build kind of like a comparison here. Okay. So in the 1950s, maybe even earlier than that, we used to have marketing in the United States promoting smoking. And they even had doctors saying smoking was a really, really good thing for you. Everybody did it. They would smoke indoors, smoke on planes, they would smoke everywhere, and everybody would
Yeah.
be cool with it because they're like, this is a good thing, right? And it wasn't until the people that kind of grew up with that and then started like developing cancerous issues with their body and like all the different health risks that come with that became well known that the laws and the regulations came into play and actually changed.
Yeah.
So I think I can speak to the United States, and I know it is in some other countries where there's really old people that didn't grow up with technology and they don't understand what's actually happening on the internet or how it even functions. I mean, just look at the Mark Zuckerberg Congress interrogation stuff,
Yeah.
and he had to explain how the internet works to them, and they were all completely clueless because they just don't know what they don't know, right? It's like talking to your boomer parents or like grandparents. But when they are no longer making the policies, and I get like your and I's generation start doing that, I think there's going to be more regulation of like, hey, social media might not be good for kids that are under 17.
Yeah.
You know, it could be messing you up a little bit.
Mhm.
Like Twitter is a plus 13 site, and you are 2 replies away from literal porn. That's not cool.
Dude,
Like,
I can't
you know what I
get over
mean?
it.
Like,
I hate it.
but I think that's what's going to happen with AI, because it's going to be a great tool with a lot of pros and cons. And there's no regulation right now, so it's going to be like the Wild West. Anything goes right now. It's going to be wild.
Yeah, I mean that's true too. Hopefully at some point there'll be some regulations. I think it's an interesting comparison between like, smoking to AI and stuff like that. Kind of, how that can, how that does advance over time and how it could be more be more regulated. Hopefully something like that happens for sure. But yeah. And I just have to say, like I think we talked about that whenever Elon bought Twitter, the downfall of Twitter, and how it's not gonna be the same site. It's showing, dude. It's showing. I'm agreeing with you, man. It's so bad, dude. It just like replies are either pornographic stuff or it's replies completely unrelated to the original post, and it's just like trying to like engagement farm. It's ridiculous, dude.
It's absolutely terrible.
Can't do it. It's crazy. It's wild, Iron Man. Yeah, can't do it. I'm starting to dislike Twitter to a certain extent. That's just me.
Yeah, I'm not on it nearly as much as I used to be. And I also think I got a little like shadow banned, because once you get put into a community on Twitter, if you start changing your reply section, then nobody will interact with you, because like your content, because your previous content was for a different like era or like a different community. So when you switch communities, it's like you start from scratch. It's very bizarre. At least that's what I've noticed. Especially when you don't have maybe a personal following on any platform.
Yeah.
Like that.
It's